Shawn O'Brien, welcome back to the show, sir. Thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was happy to get the nod.
Oh, of course. You've had a busy couple of weeks here. So whenever we see you on the internet, and to know that you're a local guy, you're coming back home, I had to reach out and go, okay, we got to get some stories out of this individual.
You put that picture up, and it generated a lot of interest. And I don't know how I don't know whether to thank you or curse you for all the text messages I got.
Oh, did you get people?
Yeah, well, a lot of you've got a real nice following on social media, and you broadcast that, and I go into the likes, and I just see it's like a walk down memory lane for me. So whether it's direct messages on Instagram or Twitter or emails or text messages, it created a flurry of activity for me as well.
I don't know whether or not to apologize or sometimes I forget that it's like that, but
it's great.
Arizona did a great job of covering the father strip. Can you turn the headphones down just a bit, Jeff? Mine on the left one. Arizona, no, not there. Arizona did a great job covering the father strip, like the actual social media team.
Yeah, they have. Kelsey Grant is a team photographer.
A little bit.
They've got a videographer that travels with them.
Oh yeah.
They're there every step of the way. As I was saying earlier off mic, I was trying to stay out of the camera as best I could, but I didn't have a whole lot of success. But they're there to capture the moments of the players, and in this case, the dads, and share it with the fans. And they're trying to grow the game in Arizona, and I think their social media platform is a big part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, well said. I never thought of it from that perspective, because there is kind of a stigma about Arizona, but if they can show another side that, look, the players are loving it, why not show it as much as possible?
The one thing I'll tell you, and I get a lot of questions from people here and hockey people about, the stigma playing in a college arena. I guarantee you the narrative around this team is going to change. It's already changed internally. Yeah. But you see how they're competing. They're doing better this year than they were expected to. The players love it. It looks like the arena is going to get a nod. It passed council last night. It's going to go to a public vote in May. But this is going to be a destination for NHL players in the future. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah. Have you ever had a conversation with Mr. Doan?
No, I haven't met him. I was hoping to. Liam certainly has.
Yeah.
And he's a grassroots guy. He played there, of course, and still involved with the team. His son's drafted. His son plays at ASU, which is kind of cool. But all reports are that he's as classy in person as he is in his on-ice persona.
Yeah, it seems like at the interviews I've seen him, and he seems like a guy that just wants to help and just bring hockey to Arizona at a bigger level.
Yeah,
and his son's the captain. Yeah,
his son's the captain of the Arizona State team.
And that home opener, I stayed up late to watch that. What's the name of the rink?
Mullet.
The Mullet Arena. Yeah. Everyone
I thought it was a joke when I saw it at first. I'm like, oh my god.
Well, I was watching it. I was like, this is incredible. Like it was an event. It was it was awesome.
I've not been, but Liam says the energy is terrific. The ice is terrific. Obviously, they're still building out the NHL infrastructure for the arena. That's hence the long road trip.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be fun to play against in that barn.
No.
That team's been built to play in that arena, and I think they're going to enjoy it. They're going to embrace it, and generate some interest in the market. With the outlook of having a team that, when it moves into that new arena, is going to be a team that's going to compete for a playoff spot, and then some.
Some fans might get upset at me here, but you don't even have to answer this. But Matthews, did you hear any rumblings?
No, I didn't.
Nothing?
I think there's a natural connection there because he's from the area. A couple of the guys on the team live in his house.
No way.
Yeah. I think they enjoy that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I don't see Matthews, in Arizona. I don't think you're going to see Toronto let him slip between their fingers. Albeit Toronto's a real tough market, but I think Austin's likely to stay a Leaf for a long time.
Fair enough. How early in the year did you know about this trip, the father's trip?
I got a call. Liam sent me a text maybe 3 weeks prior saying, "Dad, I think this trip's going to happen. Expect an email." And then about 2 weeks before, we get the flight information, and a week before I get the itinerary. So I was excited. I had an opportunity back, I think it was 2015. Liam was with the Caps, and they were playing at the Winter Classic, and I was planning on going. and he got sent to Hershey just before the trip. So I got the Winter Classic jacket and the jersey and everything, but I was pretty excited to get the opportunity to go.
Yeah. Well, being a father, it doesn't matter if your son's in the NHL or if he's just going to a road trip to PEI. There's a sense of pride of knowing that's my son out there playing and getting to travel with them. Yeah, obviously, it's a bit different when you're going to Nashville, Carolina, and seeing these great stadiums. But just having a sense of pride as a father, that must have been a treat for you just to see all of Liam's hard work pay off.
Yeah. It was certainly a lot of pride. And for me, watching him live, he belongs there. He's earned a spot on that team. He plays a meaningful role, and it's nice for him to be in a situation where he's on the roster. He contributes every night, and he's a big part of the club.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I saw him on the second line for the past week when they're posting on social media.
Yeah. He's playing with Jack McBain, who's a kid that's from the Toronto area. I worked with his dad a number of years ago. Andrew McBain, who was a hell of a hockey player in his day. And then Christian Fisher, who's Chicago-based, now lives in Scottsdale year-round. The three of them, they play hard, and they bring energy. They're often up against the other team's top line or their top six. Yeah. Their plus-minus is respectable. They're killing penalties, and they provide a lot of energy.
What is it about your fathership style that allows Liam, at least I know, to be loved by the fans, by people within the organization? I'm sure your other children as well have great personalities, but what's your fathership style in order to raise these kids like this?
I don't know if I can take credit for it.
You gotta be a little closer to the mic there.
Sorry, I don't know that I can take credit whether it's a fathership style, but I think the one thing Susan and I have tried to instill in the kids is to be appreciative, to be courteous, and to invest time and energy. And Liam has done that. Rowan's done that. Kate's done that. Calum's done that. They've developed relationships because they're good human beings and they care. I think the sport's really aside. Liam he has a platform because he's a hockey player, but regardless of what he's doing, I think he'd have a similar effect on the people around him. And I think maybe he's the kids have learned that to some extent from us, but their feet are on the ground, and they care about people, and I think people feel that.
That's awesome. Well said. I had a question about you've been around the game of hockey your whole life, but the pro game, it's a whole nother level from what I've heard from the outside looking in, but you got to be on the inside for this past week. Is there anything that surprised you during the trip on being on the inside? Technically you're in the NHL for that week. You just weren't on the ice,
like
but
big leaguer,
was there anything that you went, wow, I didn't know?
There was. I have been involved in hockey my entire life. I was thinking about it on the way over. I got my first hockey jersey when I was 2. My godmother used to take me to the Voyageurs games up at the Forum, and I played and coached and scouted and worked as an agent for my entire adult life. And I thought, what experience can I have that I've not had before? I've been to the NHL draft on the draft floor with Noah Dobson when he was taken in 2018. So I've had some pretty cool experiences. I would say this one surpassed everything. And surprises. I was surprised at the amount of staff with the team. They have somebody that does everything. You've got we mentioned the media. You've got the team manager. You've got the coaching staff. You got the skills coach. You've got the strength coach. You've got the sports nutritionist, advisor.
The nutritionist travels with the team?
All with the team, yeah. They have a chef that travels with the team. I was shocked that, when you get on an airplane, excuse me, you think, you remember riding the bus in junior, you'd have the coach would be in the front, the assistant coach would be off to the side, then the trainers and the manager. You get on an airplane with an NHL team, and the first 10 rows are staff. So I was surprised at the volume of people. And Liam said this isn't the full crew. The media have had to take their own flights because we had to make room for the dads.
Oh,
so the aircraft was full, and there was a lot more people there. The team and male and female, lots of diversity, which is great to see. But there's a lot of moving parts behind the scenes, and that was an eye opener.
Wow.
The food was a surprise. Oh my
Put
God,
on a couple pounds or what?
Like these guys, these players are getting weighed, I don't know, every 3 or 4 days.
Are they?
And they're talking about it over dinner. Like, should we have the dessert? Are we getting weighed tomorrow? You know? And I'm like, I don't know about you, but I'm having the carrot cake. But
I got carrot cake on the flight.
oh
my
well, you get on the
God.
plane and there's hot hors d'oeuvres waiting. You know, you get on and there's meatballs and there's tacos and there's chicken legs and like that's just waiting. And Liam's like, Dad, don't fill up too early. You know, I'm thinking, you know, I'm gonna get my share already.
You bring in
And then all of a
Ziploc
sudden the
bags
menu
on
comes and you know, there's 2 appetizers, 2 warm entrees, dessert. They have these Dave's famous bread peanut butter jelly sandwiches. I didn't have one, but the boys are like, this is a staple on our flights. But the food was a nice surprise. You know, you get up in the morning at the hotel and they've got a private room with everything you want and more. We had dinner at a couple of restaurants. We ate like kings. And then you get on a plane. We go from Nashville to Raleigh, and it was the same thing, just a different menu. You know, it was like flying 5-star first class. Yeah. It was terrific.
That's
so
incredible.
That was a surprise. The other thing that was a surprise is the science behind the hockey. So the players get on the plane, and they're each given a bag. And I see Liam's got this bag, and I'm like, "What's that?" And he opens it up, and it's a 1-page summary of you know his nutritional requirements for the week. You know, here the bottles of supplements. Take 2 of these at 10, and take a couple at 2, and take this one and that one, and then from a dietary perspective, an outline of what he should eat and what he shouldn't eat over that road trip. And that's something I've never seen before. But teams are taking, you know, nutrition and the science behind nutrition very seriously for looking for a competitive edge. And that was a surprise to me how serious they're. I would think even 5, 6, 7 years ago that wasn't prevalent in the NHL, but it certainly is today.
They have it down to a science.
Yeah. And every player has a plan. You know, every player has deficiencies, and they address those deficiencies. Everything's measured. They know whether you're eating or whether you're not eating.
How do they know that?
I think they're tested regularly. Yeah. But yeah, and they're weighed regularly. So that was the big one. Some of the guys, you know, Liam's body fat's, I think, it's not a concern.
Yeah.
A couple of the more heavy set guys are like, you know, we
Lay
get
off
2
the
days
cake.
to wait. I might have to hit the bike tomorrow before I get on the scale. But,
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how they're being weighed and they're being tested on a regular basis. That I wouldn't have thought that. I thought if you're on the team, great, go work hard, have fun, and win hockey games. Yeah. I didn't know that they were always getting tested. That's interesting.
Yeah. The other thing that I was pleasantly surprised about is they have fun. You know, they work hard and they play hard, and I think that's a big part of an underrated part of the game. You know, you've heard the expression "play guilty," and you know sometimes you've heard stories of. I remember Tampa a few years ago playing for the Stanley Cup, and you think the night before a game you're home in bed early. Well, these guys are out partying until 2:00 in the morning. Now, I didn't have that experience on this trip, but I will say on a night off, these guys like to go out and have a good time.
Yeah,
they're also very well behaved, and I think that's true with most hockey players. Is they go out and there's no bravado. They're not showing off. They're understated. They're there to have a good time. They're respectful. They treat people well. But yeah. This team loves to sing karaoke. So on the night after the Nashville game, I was still recovering from Sunday night, so I didn't make the trip to Tootsie's on the Monday night. But the rumor has it that the band stopped and the karaoke machine made its way to the stage, and the Coyotes had a great night of karaoke with the locals and had a lot of fun.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're saying they're having fun, because those guys are living the dream for, you know, guys like me and Jeff and you that wish we could play in the NHL.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're, you know, having fun, that brings a little bit of a joy to me, knowing, okay, at least there's someone there that's getting to enjoy it and not just thinking it's work.
You know, you ask NHL players, you know, give advice to kids, and one of the things you hear over and over again is you got to enjoy the game. And I think it's true. You know, it is a job, and it's a rigorous schedule. But you got to inject fun. And if you're having fun, it feels a lot less like work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Other surprises, I was not surprised, but the quality of the people, the quality of the dads. We've all been on teams where you've got, a player or a parent that, takes up a lot of energy. We didn't have that. It was a really, really high, every player that I met, every parent that I met, every staff person I met was of the highest quality. And that made me feel good as a parent to know that my son is in that environment.
Yes.
And contributes to that environment. But it's obvious to me as an observer that culture and the quality of the people in that organization is really important to the foundation of it.
I like how you say that, because when you do, I never thought of it from a son perspective. Like your family is in Arizona doing a job for a living, surrounded by, millionaires, people that have money, people that have influence. And for you to sit here and say, oh no, everyone there is just trying to win a Stanley Cup. Everyone there is trying to be the best version of themselves. That's cool. That's cool to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, I wouldn't put it in the surprise category, but I was surprised at the quality rate from top to bottom. Like everybody was there for the right reasons and supportive of each other, caring of each other.
Did you, I don't know if this is a fair question, I think it is, but did you see any characteristic differences in Liam from now to like maybe 2 or 3 years ago? Now he's a full-timer, he's there, he's not concerned about his job, he's there. Did you see any differences in him, and maybe in his confidence and his way he carries himself, anything like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say yes, I do see a difference. I think the difference, I wouldn't say job security. He's got a 2-year contract, but his mentality, he gets up every day with the mindset of, I got to earn it today.
Okay.
There's no days off for him. So I don't think he's comfortable, but there's a confidence to him that I've not seen. When you're an American League guy going to the NHL, you never really feel part of the team, even if you're there for an extended stay. You're not, etched into the roster. But I think the big difference for me in this case is, he knows he's part of the team and that he plays a meaningful role. And, he takes on, I had a number of the dads of the younger players say, Liam really went out of his way to make my son feel comfortable, or to help him find housing, or show him the ropes, or, he's that guy, he's that glue guy that we talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah, he I think the one difference would be that I think he feels like he's home.
That's a nice feeling.
Yeah, I think there's a sense of being settled there that he hasn't had in the past.
That's probably one of the hardest things of being a pro hockey player.
Yeah.
Moving from town to town. Especially he just got married as well. He has a wife
married
now.
In summer. He's got a lovely wife, Adela. They bought a house.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they bought a real nice house in Scottsdale. And I think that's a change too. Like, he's lived in apartments and hotels for all of his pro career. Even last year in Arizona, they rented a condo. Now to have, a footprint there, a home where they can actually renovate and live, and when he comes home, he feels like he's home. I think that's a difference as well.
That's awesome. Good for you too. Hopefully there's a spare bedroom in there for you.
There's a couple of spare bedrooms.
A couple golf courses around.
Lots of golf courses.
Lots of golf courses.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Went down for a golf trip with my friends last February, and then my wife and I went down in March. This year we'll go down again in March, and might squeeze in a little golf.
You might. Of course, you got to.
It's expensive though.
Is it?
Yeah. I was surprised if you're there in peak seasons, which those months are peak seasons.
March is peak season for golf.
The north people from the north are going down to the warmer climate, so for them it's peak season from a tourist perspective. So it costs you no less than $150 US. We had one course, I think it was $350 US to play.
I would have thought with the more courses, the lower the rates.
I think, yeah. You could play like a municipal course for $100 US.
Yeah.
And they're not great. The high end courses are expensive.
Well, you got to keep the grass green there, and the desert. It costs money to keep them.
Lots of irrigation costs.
Yeah. Never thought of it from that. It's a dry heat in Arizona?
It's a dry heat.
It's a dry.
It's sunny most days. That was a cool experience too. Going to the arena. I didn't go in shorts, but I could have. We went to the practice facility on the Sunday morning, and it's warm. It feels like going to the Forum in July. And as Canadians, we're accustomed to going to the arena with our winter coat on, where there the players, for a good part of the season can go in summer clothes or lighter clothes. So it feels different.
Yeah, absolutely, I bet.
Yeah.
I wonder if that might be a distraction for me. I just want to golf.
Yeah.
I guess if you're playing hockey though, maybe not, but in warm climate, like living in LA, living on the beach and you're seeing surfers all day.
Well, I think their off time's different. Instead of going home on the couch or shoveling snow, they're on the golf course playing golf, or they're catching a local event, or they're hiking up. They do a lot of hiking. A lot of the players are.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot. It's a mountainous area, so you've got these. It's really flat, and then you have these mountains that surround the Phoenix area.
Okay.
So a lot of the players live up on these areas, but they also love to hike in that area. So it's
okay, great.
Pretty cool.
Well, what is the time off like in the NHL? Is it as often as I think it is? Obviously, I look at the game schedule, but when it comes to practices, are they on the ice every day?
I think the coaching staff are managing that. I think the day of game day skate is quite normal, particularly when you're on the road. But I think they look for opportunities to give them a day off. I know last week, I think they left Sunday. They got home Friday night, Saturday. They played in Detroit, and I think they had 2 days off. But they may go 7 or 8 days straight without any time off. So whenever there's a bit of a break in the calendar, they play again Thursday. I know they give them deliberately a couple of days off just to charge to spend time with family and friends and their kids, get some rest, and take care of their bodies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you were on the trip, it was Nashville, Carolina. Was it back-to-back, or was there a day in between?
There was a day in between.
There was a day in between. Yeah. I wish you were there for a back-to-back just to see the sense of urgency of trying to get to another city really quickly, and like the room setup and stuff like that. But there was a day in between.
There was a day in between, yeah.
So
they we got to Nashville on Sunday afternoon. They played Monday night. They skated in Nashville Tuesday morning after the game, and then we flew to Raleigh Tuesday afternoon. Okay. So they had Tuesday night off, and then they played in Raleigh Wednesday night.
That's cool. I've heard in the NHL, like, trainers really help each other when it comes to equipment and when it comes to ice time, because everyone's on the road so much in the NHL, obviously. It's cool to hear to say, oh, no, they just practiced in Nashville before they hit the road to Raleigh. And they could keep their gear there overnight.
Talk about having a couple of days off. The trainers need the days off probably as much as the players, because they're responsible for transporting the equipment, getting the room ready to go, get the players ready to go, break everything down, and then transport it, get it ready to go on the airplane. And they do. There's a camaraderie amongst the trainers in the league, and they help each other, when they're coming in and leaving.
I heard players really help out with the training staff as well. Like if it's a dinner, just pick up the tab for the trainer. I heard there's a huge amount of respect for the people that take care of their equipment, even the massage therapy group.
I think, you played junior. I coached with Jimbo in junior, and you think the most important guy in the room wasn't the coach, it was Breaker, the trainer. The guy that was most beloved would have been Breaker, the trainer. Break's still down in So Shore.
Is he still down there?
Yeah.
He'd never come on here.
No, he probably wouldn't.
No, not a chance.
But wonderful guy, and those trainers are they play a huge role, and the players appreciate them. And the objective of the trainer is to prepare everything for the players so that they don't have to worry about anything other than play. And their efforts are not unnoticed.
Does the name Robbie Verker ring a bell to you? He was my captain in Junior A for the Lions, and it was the first road trip. I was 17, he was 20, and I just overheard him. He was like 4 guys ahead of me getting off the bus. We were stopping at Irving, and he's like, Breaker, like, what do you, bag of chips? What do you want? And that was my lesson. Oh, that's how you do that. Okay, I'll never forget that lesson.
We got Scotty Boggs from Halifax, who's the head trainer in with the New York Islanders, and he learned under Breaker. So it's because
we had their old jerseys at the Lions.
Yes,
the old that makes sense.
That's exactly. Yeah. So there's not just we're not just developing hockey players, but we're developing hockey people. You look at the coaching staff that come from Atlantic Canada, and you look at the people that are involved behind the scenes. Scott Boggs would be an example of that as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
World Juniors. You have tickets?
I don't. I put my name in a lottery, and I won tickets, the right to buy tickets in Moncton. I decided not to, although I will be the agency that I've been affiliated with. We've got some players playing, so I suspect that I'll be at the Metro Center or Scotiabank Center sometime between Christmas and New Year's to catch a couple of games.
Do you have any memories from the 2003 World Juniors here? I was too young. Like I have a couple memories, but do you have any memories from the city and how much it was buzzing back then?
It was buzzing.
Yeah.
It was cool to walk the streets. I remember being at the Cheers one afternoon, and the players are there, and I don't know if the players are there, but the team group was there, and remember, I think it was Getzlaff walking around, and it just there was a buzz to the city that I hadn't felt, and the city embraced it. And I think that's why it's back. If you think of, if you had to put a name on the greatest World Junior Championships of all time, Halifax would have to be in the top couple, and the hockey community loves to come to the city. It's a city that fights above its weight in terms of restaurants and amenities, but it's a city small enough that we wrap our arms around these kind of events, and it's going to be interesting to see what the city looks like, over that period of time.
Next month, or is it December next? No,
it's coming soon.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting for sure. We're from a business opportunity for us. We're excited just to be outside and talk to the fans. We applied for media passes, but we just don't know if that's our bread and butter, like interviewing the players. I don't know. We want to experience more of the fans. Yeah. So we're excited just to see some of the traction, because you know how Twitter can be. If you get a viral video, someone with a couple 100,000 could retweet it. So I don't know. We're excited about it from the High Button Sports standpoint.
There'll be lots of, you think of all the scouting staffs will be here. Fans from all over the world to be here. There are a lot of families that, part of their Christmas tradition is to go to the World Juniors, and we'll be inviting people from all over the world here over that period of time. So I'm sure standing outside on the street and interviewing fans is going to be interesting, because it'll be an eclectic group of people that you'll get a chance to interact with.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges with street interviews, is finding areas where people want to talk. We always go Spring Garden, we go Dalhousie campus,
high traffic areas.
But now all we have to do, let's just park outside Scotiabank Center and let them come to us. If you're holding the mic and a camera, it'll
stand out in front of the corner of the Midtown.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's right next to it. Or Dirty Nellies, either one.
Yeah.
We'll just stand and it'll be great. No, it'll be sick. What's your plan for Christmas? Are you going to be here? Or obviously the World Juniors are here.
The plan for Christmas is quiet. I like to be at home. My mom's still alive, so I want to spend time with her and the family. Obviously, Liam's not going to be able to come home, but plan for Christmas is low key, and I look forward to that.
Absolutely, it's been a busy couple of.
Last Christmas we all had COVID, so we didn't have Christmas last year. Our Christmas took place on New Year's, basically. So it made for a very subdued Christmas. This year, we're looking forward to a more festive holiday.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit part of the recipe with the World Juniors. People want to get out. People want to.
Yeah.
But I love staying home too. I'm not a huge fan of.
Traveling. Like, we contemplated going to Arizona, and my wife Susan might still go down. They're playing in Florida around New Year's. I don't know that they go to Florida, but if there's a window of time where they could go down for a few days and see Adela and Liam, I think they do that. I'm going to opt out of that, and I'll wait until the new year before I do that, but we'll wait and see.
How often does that conversation come up with you and your wife about, Liam's playing in New Jersey, that's a 2-hour flight, like when he's on the East Coast, like how often does that come up? I got a great
story with it. So last year, it was a Thursday night, and they're playing in New Jersey, and when they go to that market, what they do is they stay in New York, in Manhattan, a beautiful hotel. I forget the name of it, but it's spectacular. And then they'll go to Long Island, and they get a day room in Long Island. So the bus goes to Long Island. They do their game day skate. They stay at a hotel in Long Island for the afternoon. And then after the game, they go back to New York City.
Okay.
Then the next night, 2 nights later, they go to New Jersey. They do the same thing. They do their game day skate. They stay at a hotel in New Jersey. Then they come back to Manhattan. So it's a Thursday night. We're at home. We've probably had a couple of drinks. And they're in New Jersey. And I look at the schedule, and I'm like, they're playing at Madison Square Gardens on Saturday night. I think we should go. And Susan's like, yeah, I think we should go too.
Wait, sorry. When was this though? When did you?
This is the Thursday before.
And
they're
playing on
playing
Saturday.
They're playing in Jersey on Thursday. They're playing Madison Square Gardens on Saturday. And Thursday night about 11 o'clock, I've got this great idea that we're going to New York City. So I schedule the flights. I buy Broadway tickets. I get the hotel booked. Wake up the next morning. I'm like, holy shit, we're going to New York City this weekend.
The drunk purchase, I love it.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it was completely. It wasn't drunk, but it was well lubricated.
Yeah.
And we had a great time. We unfortunately Air Canada, our flight was delayed, so instead of getting there early morning and catching a Broadway show, we got there late afternoon, and we were in a hurry to get to the hotel and to the rink. We got there, and MSG is just a mecca. It is. If you've not been, it's something you've got to put on your bucket list. Walking the corridors there, the pictures of the Muhammad Ali fights and the concerts and the events that have taken place. Susan and I have been there for a couple of concerts in the past, but to see a hockey game there, the fans are terrific, high energy, and Liam scored a goal.
Oh, did he?
Which was really cool.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
A chance to see him score in Madison Square Gardens.
That's sick. Yeah, I've heard it's crazy. I heard you just don't want to drive there.
There's really no need to. Once you get on the island of Manhattan, you want to either take subway or a bus or a taxi.
Yeah.
You don't want to navigate the city by car.
Yeah. What a great experience. I never thought of it from that perspective either. If in New York, you play the Islanders, you play New Jersey,
and they
play the Rangers.
They did that trip just a few weeks ago. So they they landed in New York City, and then they played 3 games over, I think, a 5-day period.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know if it was strategic for the father's trip to do Nashville, Carolina?
I think they looked at the schedule and thought, okay, what games make sense, and you also Raleigh's somewhat central, So I think the last dad's trip was in California. I know San Jose was on the schedule.
Okay.
I think this trip was designed specifically because 2 games close to close, or 1 day apart, and Raleigh is somewhat central for people to get back home.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So I got to ask, how did the pregame speech come up? Doing the starting roster. How did you get roped in there?
Well, it's funny. We meet at the hotel. We're getting on the bus to go over to the arena, and we pull into the arena, and it's quite these arenas, like, you get on a bus and you feel like you're
modern day cathedral.
Yeah, but it's you're in the bowels of the arena, and it's just cement and concrete, and we get off the bus, and the team man, one of the ladies, Erin, who's one of the managers, she says, "We'd like you to do the opening." The starting lineup in the dressing room. And I thought she was joking at first. I'm like, you got to be kidding. That was my inside voice. She goes, "Are you willing to do it?" And I said, "Absolutely, I'll do it." And all the dads were like, "You're going to do it? Are you nervous?" They thought I was going to be nervous. I wasn't nervous at all.
Was there any confusing names? I'm trying to think of some last names.
Bukestad.
Yeah,
I didn't get confused with the names, but what I didn't know is I didn't know the roster ahead of time. So if I'd known who was starting, that was my first question, is, do you know who's starting?
Yeah, okay.
Because I want hometowns, I want nicknames.
Yeah.
I would have had some fun with it. But I didn't get the starting lineup until I walked into the room, and Corey Stillman, the assistant coach, gave it to me. So I didn't have much time to prepare.
You killed it. You knocked it out of the park.
It was, I couldn't look at Liam. Like I was like, I'm an emotional guy, so I go in, I'm all business. I get all worked up.
You just say, "Liam, you're starting. Fuck it, let's go. You're starting."
I was going to scratch the left winger and put Liam in there, but he wasn't in the starting lineup. But I think the players enjoyed it. Coaching staff got a kick out of it. Apparently the players wanted me to come back for game 2 in Carolina, but the coach is like, "Hey, this is my room," I'm joking when I say that.
Yeah.
Game 2, we were in the hallway, high-fiving the players going on the ice, which is pretty cool too.
That's great.
But it was a thrill to do that.
What a treat. What a treat. All great for the NHL. I know all the other teams do this, but they don't have to do this for you. But they do it. What a treat. What an experience. They do it for the mothers as well.
The mums will get a chance to go next year. The dads laughed. We said, "Let's have a vote to see if we bring the mums in next year."
Yeah.
The dads all put their hand up saying, "No, we're going to bring the dads back again." But I think the mums trip will be on the docket for next year, and they deserve it. The mums deserve it as much or more as the dads. I suspect the trip will have a little bit of a different tone than with the dads, but equally fun and rewarding for the players.
Absolutely. That's true. You guys work hard, or not you guys, but
we all
hockey
sacrifice.
parents in general. Just cold rinks.
The sacrifice, the
heating the car up.
Yeah, heating the car up, preparing meals, doing homework, taking weekends, staying at the Super 8, there was a time Susan and I and the kids, we lived in Montreal for 5 years. We came back to Halifax, and then there was 2 years we spent in Toronto. And I remember finding this desk calendar, like your teacher would have on her desk, and it was the month of March.
Yeah. And
on Sunday nights we'd sit down, maybe have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
And we'd say, okay, let's look at the 4 kids' hockey schedules and figure out the logistics for the week, So I find this desk calendar in the month of March, I think it was 2007, we averaged 20 trips to the rink a week.
A week?
You're in Toronto, we're both working, the 4 kids are in school, and we had, the 4 of them playing. And
okay.
Whether it was practice, game, private sessions, Rowan had a goalie session, a gym session. We had 20 hockey-related events a week in the month of March, and not just for 1 week. That was the norm. So we'd come home from work. One would be going one way, one would be going another. Another manager would be picking a kid up. The kids would be doing their schoolwork in the car, because in Toronto it'd take you an hour to get anywhere. We'd be eating on the go all the time. It's demanding, and it's a huge sacrifice for everybody.
Oh yeah, everybody.
Yeah,
we're staying in a lot of hotels now with this job, and I remember times where I'd be like, we'd be out on a Sunday, and let's drive home after Sunday, and I'd be like, or no, Sunday, and I'd be like, Dad, can we stay in the hotel Sunday night? And I'm miserable now as a grown man. Just Sunday, I want to go home, and I couldn't. My dad, God love him, he'd be like, yeah, all right, fine, let's stay, even though he's making me happy, but inside he's miserable. And just knowing those little sacrifices my old man made just to make me happy, it's you realize them.
Yeah, you're staying in a lot of low, half-star hotels.
Just find a room somewhere.
Crappy breakfast and pulling the kids out of the pool. Boys, you got a game in 2 hours. Time to get out of the pool.
You got a game in 2 hours.
Or you're playing hallway hockey with the kids. You go home with knee burns. It's like it is a sacrifice. Yeah, we look back now and we miss it because it becomes your life. It aside from your work, the commitment to hockey becomes your social life. So our friends and the people we hung out with were hockey related. Mm-hmm. And then when you move through that, and now we're on the other side of it, you look back, and it wasn't all just work and sacrifice. There was a hell of a lot of fun.
Definitely.
And a lot of joy.
Dude said this once. We were it was a Sunday, I don't know where it was. We were kind of miserable. We were on the last stream. I think we did 50 streams in 3 days, and we were sitting there, and some of us were complaining, like, oh, let's go. And dude said it. He goes, boys, let's not complain about these streams and this work, because if we complain, these moments won't happen again. Yeah. So ever since that, I think it was this year, we just don't complain. It's let's enjoy this. Let's have fun.
Embrace it.
We're making a living in hockey. Let's keep going with it. So I always try to think of that moment when work gets tough.
Now, what podcast is this of yours? Is it
418, 417?
Yeah, good for you.
It is what it is.
Yeah, you guys are. Your commitment has been outstanding. I remember when it started, I'm like, good for you to get it started, but to keep persevering and to keep plugging away and having it build and grow is, is special.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stress, but it's fun. It's FUN. It's a great time. After this, I'm going to the Scotiabank Center. I got to call Kelly Saunders, the Zamboni driver, and the relationships, I think, is what it is. It's
sure. Well, there's an element of trust too. Like you think of Nate coming in here in the summer. That's a big deal for you.
Yeah, huge.
But he comes here because he trusts you,
and because I know Sab.
Yeah, and
but I get that. But
but he's not coming here for any other reason other than he trusts you.
Fair.
He's going to get an opportunity to tell his story in a respectful way.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's a really, really, really nice living, I guess you could say. What's on the agenda for the rest of the week, Shawn?
Work. I'm busy. I've got a full-time job. I wish I could just be a full-time hockey dad, but I got a job to do, which I enjoy very much. Hockey's a nice outlet for me. I'm doing less and less work in hockey. I've enjoyed it, but it's time for me to do other things beyond that. So I don't have a whole lot of hockey on the docket. We've got a couple players I'm advising now, and we've got trade period coming up with the Quebec League, so we've got some conversations around that. But other than that, just work, and I'm looking forward to being home this weekend. As much as I enjoyed being away, I'm looking forward to being at home and starting to get ready for Christmas and spend some time with the dog, and I've got dinner with Jim Bottomley and his wife on Friday night, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah,
we might be streaming the Liverpool, the dojo, the Junior B Atlantics, and he's the owner of Liverpool.
That's right. Privateers.
So put in a good word for us.
Yeah, I will.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, there's going to be some great hockey around here during Christmas time, and it's great to hear that you're still somewhat involved in the hockey. So it'll be fun for you on the family side and hockey side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wicked.
No.
Well, the Mooseheads, they have a chance.
You know what? I've watched Halifax play a couple times this year. They've got LaRue back, who's a big player for them. You know, they make the acquisition of Lawrence, which he's a game breaker. He got great speed, high skill. You know, they've got real good back end. I really like Furlong.
Yeah, I like him too.
He's a kid that I watched in Bantam that I like a lot. He's a great skater. I think they've got a good team. You know, I've not watched Quebec Ramparts. I don't know how strong they are.
Is Ross still coaching them?
Who? Patrick?
Patrick,
yeah, of course, yeah.
And he's the GM.
He is, yeah.
Still heavily involved.
He's Patrick's one of a kind.
Oh, you've met him, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a great story about Patrick, actually. Liam's draft year, it was 2010, and at the time, the two teams that were most interested in were Rimouski and the Quebec Ramparts. And Rimouski was coached by Clément Jaudoin, who coached here and played here, I believe.
Okay.
Clem went on, he coached in Montreal for a number of years. He's a teacher, you know, patient and very soft-spoken, a real professor of hockey. The other team was the Quebec Ramparts.
Okay.
And Patrick. So we had an opportunity to meet both teams, and Liam was in Lévis, Quebec, playing in the TELUS Cup, and we had an opportunity to go to Patrick's office, and Susan and I, and meet Patrick and get a tour of the facility. And I'm in awe because it's Patrick. Why, you know?
Yeah.
And he's in the old Marcel Aubu's office, which would have been the general manager's office of the Nordique back in the day. So it's got the shag carpet and the dark wood and old school, but really cool. And, you know, we're talking to Rimouski and we're talking to Quebec. And what was interesting at the time was that the Tanguay family, which is a big furniture store family in Quebec, had ownership in both programs. So at the end of the day, it was like, you know, if Rimouski wants you, great. If you don't go to Rimouski, you know, we'll take you in Quebec. So we had two great opportunities. But then Susan had some questions of Patrick, you know, and as a parent, sending your 16-year-old away from home is a concern. It's not hockey related. It's more about the extracurricular activities. And let's just say that Patrick's responses wasn't what Susan was looking for. So in the end, Liam got drafted by Rimouski. No. And he jokes that every time he got on the ice, you know, Patrick would be like, "Hey, Liam, say hello to your mom," you know. And there's one time we were up in Rouen-Noranda. Liam was playing in Rouen at the time, and Patrick was there. And he knew us. He remembered us. Yeah. And he was good enough to sign an autograph for Susan to give to one of her work colleagues.
Oh, Jesus.
But he's a classy guy. He loves the game. You know, and he's done a good job there. And when you meet him, you can feel that there's an intensity about him where, you know, if you're a player, you know, you feed off that. And he's done a great job there, and I got a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, whenever Quebec comes to Halifax, it's must watch hockey.
Yeah,
because he's in the building. Because he'll do anything to win. Yeah, it's one of those type of things.
He's ultra competitive.
Yeah,
even, you know, behind the bench, he was ultra competitive as a goaltender, but he's carried that intensity, that competitiveness into his junior team. And I think that the players benefit from that. That's been you know, if you think of the foundational programs in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, Halifax is certainly one of them. They've demonstrated that. Quebec would also be one where he's done a heck of a job there for a long time.
100%. And a city like Quebec, they love their hockey.
They do. They got a great facility.
Yeah, the Verdun.
Well, their new, I think it's Pepsi Center, the new facility they built that's
next to it. Yeah,
it's an NHL standard. I don't know what it's called.
No, Pepsi's the old one.
Pepsi's
the new one. I'm pretty sure is called the Verdun Arena. Verdun's a city.
Yeah, it's not Verdun.
It's something, but no, it's an NHL size ring.
Oh yeah, it's built to NHL standards.
Is the Pepsi still there? Do you know?
It was there the last time I was there. They share a parking lot. I don't know if it's still there. I've not been to Quebec in a number of years now, so I don't know.
Oh, I remember playing there in the Quebec tournament, and you're looking at the top stands, and I don't know how people would walk down them. It was straight.
Steep. Yeah.
Straight down.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
And you could smell it. Those old rinks and the
Oh,
smell.
yeah.
Centennial has the smell.
Yeah.
Just like those old rinks have
has
the
the
smell. The
smell.
Forum has the
It's
smell.
a great smell.
Civic still has the smell.
Yeah.
I hope they never knock that place
You
down.
think of the line from Apocalypse Now. There's nothing like the smell of napalm first thing in the morning. There's nothing like the smell of the Halifax Forum first thing in the morning.
Yeah. 6 a.m. You could barely tie your skates because your hands are so cold.
Yeah.
You're just getting. Oh yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't know whether it's a combination of spilt beer, old cigarettes, and Zamboni fumes, but it's a beautiful thing.
They keep it clean though. Like it's a well kept building, but that smell will never leave.
No.
Same with Centennial. I play there Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays at noon.
Yeah.
That same smell from when I was 12 years old trying out for that AAA team.
Yeah.
The anxiety comes back. It's whoa, it feels like September right now.
Exactly.
Tryouts, but no, it's a special thing for sure.
Yeah.
You said you weren't in the new rink in Arizona.
No, I didn't get a chance to see that. I'd like to. When I go back in the new year, I'll definitely get a chance to catch a game.
Yeah.
But the arena is right on the campus. So I don't know what the student population is, but you imagine a campus probably 5 times the size of Dalhousie with an NHL, with a 5,000 seat stadium in the middle of it. There's an electricity to it that the players are really enjoying.
Does Liam say that there's like a student, like a student fan base? Like, is there a lot of students that come?
Well, I think there's a component of the arena that they've dedicated to students at reduced rates.
Yes.
When you're running an NHL team with a 5,000 seat capacity, you got to be mindful of revenues. So I think there's an area dedicated to students. They've got the band, playing.
Do they?
Yeah. So it's got a bit of a college feel to it. But there's, most of the arena would be occupied by fans paying the NHL premium for seats.
I think it would be really cool just to see some of the best players that close up. I think there's a really cool aspect to that size of an arena.
Yeah, it's intimate. It's intimate. You're the one thing I would say, being in Nashville and Carolina, I love both buildings. I've been to Nashville once before, but it's really interesting to watch a game in a non-hockey market like Nashville, where everybody's really enthusiastic. They love the rough stuff, but you can tell that they don't always understand the hockey plays, but they're all in. They love it, and the energy was terrific. And Nashville was the same thing. It felt a little different in Nashville, but maybe because we won there.
Yeah.
But real good energy. Fans were really pleasant to us. We got a few heckles from the crowd, but for the most part, they knew we were there as dads, and they were really accommodating and kind to us.
That's great.
Yeah.
I wonder if it would be the same if you went to like Philly or something.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. It doesn't even matter.
I would think Philly would be not as accommodating, not as warm, welcoming. Great facilities. Awesome. And I've been to some games in some pretty cool arenas. Montreal being probably my favorite. Pittsburgh's cool too, but Montreal, just the history.
Oh yeah.
Toronto's nice, but it feels sterile to me. Boston's terrific as well. But MSG would be my favorite arena to watch an away game.
Really?
Based on the experiences that I've had, yeah.
MSG.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the history there.
Yeah, when you're saying like Muhammad Ali, all that stuff, walking in there for the first time must have been cool.
Well, MSG is a hockey arena, but it's more than that. It's it's a venue for world-class events, whether it's boxing, whether it's concerts. The fact that it's right in the middle of Manhattan, it's just the coolest place.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll make you a promise. I'll get there one day.
Susan and I saw Lionel Richie there a couple of years ago. We went down just before COVID, I guess, the summer before COVID. And, we planned the trip just to go, and then let's see what's playing. We saw Billy Joel one night and Lionel Richie the other. And I was excited about Billy Joel. I wasn't so excited about Mariah Carey and Lionel Richie until we got there. And we were on our feet for the whole time. It was the best night ever.
That's sick.
So, yeah.
Doesn't Billy Joel sell that place out like once a week?
He does a month. I think he does a monthly show there.
So 12 a year.
Yeah. And it's special. It's quite a performance.
I bet.
And I'd seen Billy once before a number of years ago, but to see him play more or less at home in New York City.
Yeah, because he's from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty special experience.
Did you see his last show? I think it was the Mets old stadium that they tore down. The MetLife Stadium might have been called right before they tore it down. Did you see the footage of that on YouTube?
I did, yeah.
And who flew in from the Beatles? John Lennon. No, not John Lennon. Rest in peace. Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Flew in last second, cleared the runway for him. Guys on a flight from London. He got a police escort right to the stadium. Yeah. Jumped right on. It's a cool documentary. Yeah. Billy Joel.
My first Billy Joel concert, I was still University of Acadia playing hockey. We didn't make the playoffs. And the night we lost was like a Monday or Tuesday night of March break or reading week, whatever they call it now. Yeah. And we're in the room and we're like, oh my God, like we planned on playing, and now everybody's left campus and we've got nothing to do. So four buddies and I get in a car. One of the guys had his mom's car and his mom's credit card. We got in a car. We thought, let's just head south. So the plan was to go to Boston. We get to Boston. We decide, let's go to Carolina. We get to Carolina. Screw it. Let's go to Florida. So we end up in Florida for 5 days. And one of the things that we found when we were in Florida is that Billy Joel was playing at the Orange Bowl.
What's the Orange Bowl? Was that Florida Gators, right?
Florida
Gators football. Yeah, okay.
So we think there's no chance of us getting tickets. We go to walk up the morning of, and we get tickets like on the floor of the stadium. And Billy came in on a helicopter that night, and the first song he played was that song about Saigon, the helicopters that start the song. And he comes down. It was eerily dark, and the helicopter comes over, and he comes down on a rope.
No.
And plays that song. It was unbelievable.
No.
Yeah.
Came down on a rope from a helicopter to start the show. Yeah. That's how you know you're doing all right in life.
Good morning. I forget what the song is. Something Saigon, but it was unbelievable.
I guarantee to end this podcast, there'll be a Billy Joel song fading us out. So, Shawn, I want to thank you very much for coming on. Thank you for sharing these stories. Absolutely. That was awesome. I know a lot of people, since I posted that picture, wanted to hear how the trip was. So,
it was fantastic. And I hope other parents behind me get the same experience.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Merry Christmas. I hope I see you at the World Juniors.
You will.
And everyone listening, I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. Wednesday, hump day, work hard, have fun. We are out. Peace.
Thank you.